So this is from the moon. What is going on is back on Earth, we have been depleting most of our resources at a very rapid rate. So we have to travel to the moon in order to collect their resources, in order to complete all 3 of these missions, so we can construct our spacecraft, so we can go into the solar system and kind of rebuild society. And how the game works is on your turn, you'll be able to do 1 out of the 6 actions, all displayed on your player boards. So just going from left to right, the first action that you could choose from, you could deploy 1 rover out on any of these empty moon tiles as long as someone else is not occupying them. So let's say there, for example, for each astronaut I have inside of my rover, they can do 1 task each. Either being they can collect the resource matching the same color as the astronaut, or they can do the moon surface's ability. Second action you guys can choose from, you can either build a greenhouse that's all spread out here, goes into your greenhouse area, and if you have a basic one, you can also choose to improve that greenhouse just by flipping it over. And for each greenhouse you have inside, you produce 1 food or 2 food each every time you recall all of your rovers. And I'll get more into that once we get into that stage of the progression. Third action you guys can choose from, you can either you can recruit a new astronaut to place it inside any of your rovers, as long as there's space available, or you can choose to upgrade 1 of your astronauts into a specialist using the same color icon.
Olha só que bacana, pessoal, os componentes.
And you place it inside their backpacks like so. And then once a specialist gets deployed on the surface, they can now do 2 of the tasks instead of 1. Fourth action you guys can choose from, you can either build a small or you can build 1 of the large buildings as long as 1 is available. For any one that you construct, it gets placed onto the field for any of these open areas, including the edges and also the 4 corners. Once it gets placed down, you'll be able to choose 1 of the moon surface abilities that the building touches. If you build a small building, they each have their own little bonus that you gain for every time you recall all of your rovers back. And then the 5th action you guys can choose from, you can either build a foundation following the pattern on the right-hand side of the board to place it down. And as long as you have space available in your foundation, you can then construct a laboratory that goes on top of any of those spaces. So once this gets placed down, the ability is now activated immediately, and anyone in the same row and column will also be activated. And the 6th and final action you guys can choose from, you can recall all of your rovers. This is only possible once all 3 are out on the moon surface. So I recall them back to my moon base. I gain any bonus from any of the small buildings I've constructed. I gain any food being produced from my greenhouses, and any energy that's been depleted, that now gets refilled to what your max gauge is. Once you've gained everything and recharged, you now have to feed each of your astronauts. Each one only consumes 1 food source each. Doesn't matter if it's a normal or if it's a specialist. If you're unable to do so, you lose 3 victory points for each astronaut you're unable to feed. And then once all that's said and done, you move 1 forward on the progression tracker. And if you are the first person to move forward, you will either place 1 or 2 random resource on each of these moon tiles, as long as they have space available. And then the game just keeps going and going until 1 person either goes off the progression tracker, or once all 3 of these missions have been launched. So that's kind of like a brief overview of the game. You guys have any questions about it?
Oh, amazing. Thank you. Your name?
My name's Matt.
Matt?
Yep.
Matt, thank you.
Hey, thanks for coming by.
Yeah.